I have class, my nursing class 8 to 11:30, so I'll get up at like 7 and get to class by 7:45. And then as soon as I'm done with class at 11:30, I go straight to lifting until like 12:15. Then I eat a quick lunch, and then I have class from 1 to 3 for psychology, because that's my minor. So then I have those 2 classes, and then have like a 30-minute break before track practice. And then after that, I would say from like 7 to 11, I'm reading my textbook or doing homework. I get little breaks, but I'm usually doing homework all night.
Well, she pretty much does homework 24/7. Like if she's not at track or not at classes, she's doing homework. But she handles it really well, studies all the time. She gets frustrated, but I mean, she still does all of her work and stuff. Very good work ethic.
Yes, it's stressful, but I love track and I love nursing, so I make it work.
Typically, if they're going to the nursing field, they're going to have a lot of things like that to come up. They're going to have a lot of time dedicated to their job and things like that. It's pretty involved. They have a lot of paperwork. They have to have a lot of things memorized. They have to have a lot of structure within what they're doing in their classwork. Because especially in nursing profession, you can't make a mistake if you're doing medications and things like that. You have to pay attention to detail, and typically those students that are in that, for one, they're typically caring individuals, so that carries over into being a great teammate, and likewise just paying attention to detail. That carries over into how they work out and what they do, in the weight room and our track workouts and whatever. So they're pretty dedicated people typically.
The biggest challenge for them is once they get to junior and senior year, once they get into more clinical hours, and I don't know specifically all of the workload with it. But I know that there's more documenting, there's more things like that they have to do for clinical hours, along with the sheer number of hours. And that's one of the things that's good about our sport with track, is that we can have more flexibility, because somebody can do a workout on their own a lot of times, or we can adjust training easier. As far as for other sports, sometimes it's harder when you're trying to install certain things for an offense or a defense or whatever it may be. It's a little bit tougher to have somebody sit out for a day, But the biggest thing for those student athletes is communication with coaches and with professors likewise as well too. Communication and then planning ahead, so they know that they need to get a certain amount of clinical hours in. So where do we want to have heavy loads of that? Where do we want to have lighter loads for setting up training and setting up championship schedule?
Yeah, I think they're very understanding, because throughout my freshman and sophomore year, they grew to trust me. So then now that I have clinicals Wednesday night that I have to go to, they trust me. So I missed cross country practice every Wednesday night this season because I had to be at the hospital, and he was perfectly fine with it, and they just told me to get the workout in on my own. I kind of like having the track and nursing, because I don't want to study all the time, so I think track gives me a nice break of studying, and then as soon as I'm done, I'll just come back to studying. You have to manage your time well.
I know as a student athlete myself, I was in 2 sports, a double major, and worked, so finding the time, but it's making sacrifices on choosing what social things you're going to do and not do, and saying no from time to time. I do find that student athletes, once they make that adjustment, are much more suited to be able to handle whatever life throws at them.
I think I'll be pretty successful after I graduate. Right now I have 3 A's and a B in my nursing class, it's a pretty high B, but I think that with all the studying I do and just how I react and interact with the patients in clinical, I'll get a job, because I'm caring and my grades are pretty good, so I think that's a plus.